Hi folks, welcome to the full camera review of the Poco M3 Pro 5G. Okay, now first things first, this phone does not have an ultra wide camera, and telephoto cameras are not going to be there on the mid-range and low-end phones anyway, but it lacks the ultra wide camera, and that raises a concern for me as well, because the Redmi Note 10 is a phone that's a bit cheap than this phone but has an ultra wide camera. So this phone has a macro camera, a depth camera, and the main camera sensor, and I think ultra wide camera would have made more sense instead of a dedicated depth sensor or macro sensor on this phone. The only highlight of this phone is its 5G capability, but in this video we are going to talk about the cameras, and this front camera video is being recorded from its resolution. I'll mention the resolution down here so that you guys can get an idea about that as well. We have only one resolution for the front camera of this phone, and I am walking outside in my lawn so that you guys can get an idea about the stability of this video as well. Remember, you guys have to be the judge for the mic's voice recording quality and this video resolution quality, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button and help me reach 50,000 subscribers as soon as possible. And I'll see you in a bit with the rest of the camera review. Before that, I'll take you through the camera hardware and the application features of this phone. This phone has 3 rear cameras, with main camera being a 48 megapixel sensor. It is some omnivision sensor. I personally never saw this specific sensor in a phone. This is a first for me. Other camera details are right there on your screen. Camera app is pretty basic. On the main screen you get the photo mode, on the top you get some camera frame options, the macro camera and some other stuff. You can record videos in 1080p at 30 frames per second at max. The front camera also supports the same resolution. Pro mode is also quite basic, no RAW feature in this one, and it does have the video pro mode too. The portrait mode is loaded with different blur intensity levels and filters. High-res 48 megapixels mode resides inside more options. Here you can find the night, the slow motion and the short video modes too. Let's take a look at one rear camera video sample first. This is electronically stabilized 1080p at 30 frames per second video sample. The resolution, as you can see, is quite poor, and the camera struggles when it's exposed to light all of a sudden. It's just a very basic video capability. There is nothing exciting or extraordinary going on here. Let's take a look at the selfies first. The selfies in a very first look are good enough to impress you, but if you focus on a few basic things here, for example, the saturation, first of all, it's not on par. Saturation is a bit high in the portrait mode images and it's poor in the normal images. The details are missing in the photos. These are detail-less, very flat selfies overall. The edge detection is not good either. Once again, this phone delivers average selfies, and I think we have better front cameras in this price bracket. I'll explain that later in the conclusion of this video. Anyways, let's take a look at the rear camera images in this normal versus portrait mode image. If you focus through the leaves right above my head, you will find the highlights totally blown off in the normal mode, and you can even see that the highlights in that blurred background are also blown off in the portrait mode image. The shadows are too dark, my blue shirt looks almost black. This is an overall vibrant image with impressive colors. I'm talking about the normal mode, but it lacks details like the front camera does. There is a huge difference between the colors of the normal and the portrait mode image, with the normal image being much more vibrant, like I said before. I will now take you through a number of rear camera samples. This camera performs fine when it's away from the bright light, but as soon as you expose it to the broad daylight, it's going to blow off the highlights. First of all, it's not capable of managing the highlights at all. The dynamic range is quite poor. The only way I can describe this camera is to call it average. I don't want to have all guns pointed towards me by outrightly declaring it a waste of money. However, the result is right here in front of you, and this is one of the camera reviews that I did not enjoy at all because this phone had nothing exciting. Xiaomi and Redmi have their own phones in the same price segment that are capable of delivering much better results. This camera also struggles when it comes to the red colors. It just blows off the reds, and the edge detection once again is not good. The indoor images come out just fine, not super impressive. If you're not a photographer and you need a camera in a phone just for the sake of having a camera, you may consider this phone only in that situation. Let me also show you some macro camera samples. These are just fine, but I think I have even seen better macro camera results from the phones of Xiaomi and Redmi. The night mode images, well, these are full of noise. The night mode to me seems nothing more than a gimmick on the Poco M3 Pro 5G. And with this we reach the conclusion, and here is what I think about this phone. Its camera is poor, there is no doubt about it. The only good thing about this phone, or the only thing that's being marketed, is its 5G capability in this low budget. Now adding 5G to a phone doesn't mean that you take away every single good aspect of its camera. In my opinion, it deserved a better camera, and I also believe that Redmi Note 10 that came a few months back delivers a much better photography result. I'll attach its camera review right on the top right corner here. Now you may disagree with me. If you do so, drop your feedback about this camera down in the comment section. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. With that being said, I will sign off and see you all in the next one.